We're going to walk through how to unclog the extruder on a Bambu X1 Carbon. First thing you want to do is turn off the machine, and you can unplug it if you like. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this cover carefully. I'm just going to kind of hang it right there for now. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the tube. So push this down. As you can see, I have a piece of stuck filament, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. There we go. Now you want to remove the electrical connections here in order of 1, 2, 3, and then 4 down here. So let's go ahead and do that. I like to use tweezers. It helps with these tight little connections here. 1, 2. Some of these might have glue, so just use some caution. 3. And this one down here usually does have glue. 4. You'll want to remove this screw right here. So it kind of pops out. So you want to screw it far enough and then it just falls. This fell out, so I'm going to go ahead and slide this back in. There it is. So next you want to get these extruder hex nuts out. 1, 2, and then 3 right by this spot here. Alright, next we want to remove these little hex nuts here. This removes the PTFE tube holder. Alright, now you should be able to remove the entire extruder out of its slot, just like that. Okay, now that we have the extruder fully removed, we want to remove these two. Now you kind of just wiggle these two pieces and it'll come apart like so. Alright, now if you flip over the larger piece here, you'll see 4 more hex nuts to remove. And separate those. And now you want to loosen this tension nut here, just like that. Alright, now go ahead and pop this large gear off. If you notice, the bearing for mine stuck in here. You just want to make sure you don't lose that. If you need to use a special tool to get this out, there, keep the bearing intact. Now you can see the filament, that's the issue. I'm going to go ahead and pull that thing out for now. Use your tweezers or whatever tool you have to clean out this filament. There we go. Now you want to clean out all the gears. I use a little brush. Alright, while we're in here, I suggest using a little bit of this white lithium grease to lube up those gears. I use a Q-tip. Let's go ahead and start putting this back together. One thing I want to point out is that at the top of this tension screw is a little metal fitting. Make sure you don't lose that. I dropped mine on the floor and had to find it. The wide end fits up top. Alright, now let's just go ahead and get this put back together. Test this yellow gear there. Screw these in well, but don't over tighten. And make sure the wheel spins well. Gears are all turning, everything looks good. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and turn this tension screw. Everything's still working. Now we put the two hot ends together. I line up these two triangles. Make sure those are tightened. As usual, don't over tighten. Everything still moves freely. Remember, the hot side goes outward. So these three, here, here, and over there. Now we're going to go ahead and put the slicer piece back. Now we put this filament guide back in place right here. Go ahead and put the PTE tube back in. Plug these wires back in sequence here. Secure. Okay, next one. Sometimes tweezers come in handy. Okay. Number 3. Okay. And finally, the bottom. There we go. Now we just put this cover back on. We turn it on in the hopes that there's no error. Moment of truth. There you have it, folks. The extruder has been disassembled, cleared out, lubricated, and put back together on the Bambu X1 Carbon.